Let's be honest. The Rangers looked like they were not a playoff-hungry team in last night's 2-1 loss to the Flames. So Jonny Lazarus of the Daily Faceoff is back on because 6 losses in the past 8 games for the Blueshirts, while in the hunt for a playoff spot, is just simply unacceptable here. We're taking L's all around. Jay Lazzy, what's going on, my man?
Well, I wish I was smiling this morning, Brandon, but last night was painful. There's no other way to say it. I just went on my show this morning and said I think I would rather be forced to watch Adam Sandler's movie Jack and Jill for 48 hours straight than watch that hockey game again from last night. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie, but it's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I would rather watch Dumb and Dumber the sequel than watch
I like
what
that.
we
I like that
the
movie.
sequel was absolutely horrible. Absolutely
Dumb and
horrible.
Dumber.
All right, man, let's get straight into this, man, because I don't want to be called a hater, Jay Lazzy, but I
Yeah.
think we can agree that they played one of the worst games of the season. Only 13 total shots on the night, while they allowed 35 shots on Igor. How does this happen in the middle of a wild card race, bro? Like, what's your biggest takeaways from the night?
Well, I don't think they had any answers. I don't have any answers myself. And what's confusing about it, I think, the most part is that they actually came out and had a really strong first 3 minutes. Artemi Panarin scores a beautiful goal on the 2-on-1 for his 30th of the season. And you think, okay, they're going to steamroll Calgary, who's playing the second night of a back-to-back, got into New York at 3 a.m. that morning because they had just lost to Toronto the night before. So you think the Calgary Flames, who are also starting their backup goalie in Dan Vladar, probably won't bring their best effort this evening. But for whatever reason, and I asked this to Alexis Lafreniere after the good start, and he said, I don't know. We didn't forecheck. We didn't battle. Like, they didn't have any answer. And to me, that's the biggest concern is when you are, 10 plus games away from trying to get into the playoffs, you have a team on the second night of a back-to-back, you're home, you just lost a game that was really tight against a really good Edmonton Oilers team, and you think you want to come out and have a bounce-back performance, and show like that. I don't know how that happens. I really don't. So, a lot of the guys in the room last night, I spoke to Zibanejad, Panarin, Lafreniere, Keandre Miller. They were pretty down, and it's not one that you can just move on from so quick. You got to look at the tape. You got to understand what went wrong, and you have to find a way to answer it Thursday night or tomorrow night, excuse me, against the Toronto Maple Leafs, because the Maple Leafs right now are competing for the top spot in the Atlantic Division too. So it's not going to be an easy night tomorrow. And then you got Vancouver on Saturday afternoon, who's trying to get into the playoffs themselves. So every game from here should be a playoff game or should have that playoff intensity. And last night, for whatever reason, it didn't. And the one thing I will say, and Rasmus Anderson spoke about this to Peter Baugh after the game, he said the Rangers did a lot of chirping, and I think that threw them off their game. And if you watched that game last night, you saw a lot of smack talking after the whistles and not a lot of play in between the whistles.
We call that false bravado right there. That's what
Yeah.
my mom used to say when I was a kid. It's like you're chirping, but you guys don't even have any energy. You have no life to you. In fact, after the game, Peter Laviolette said the compete was not there. That is the most disrespectful and embarrassing thing a coach can say about a team. Like, your shots can be off, it may not have been your night, but when he calls out your competitive effort, that means that there's something there that we don't see as fans. We don't see when it comes to why these guys aren't getting the results they want. And I mean, just take us to the locker room, man. You're a hockey
Yeah.
guy. Talk to me, because I'm a football guy. You guys are in your own little world sometimes. I feel like Chris Drury this season has been on an episode of Let's Make a Deal with all the trades that he made to make the roster better on paper. When you add guys like JT Miller, the roster has looked better throughout the season, but they're still not getting the results. Why, Jay Lazzy?
Yeah, and Brandon, too, as an athlete, I think any athlete knows the one thing you can control is your effort, right? That's the one thing that you can do going into any game is try. And with Chris Drury and the way the roster's been constructed, you look at the blue line, I don't know if it's all that better than what it was a year ago. Obviously, they move guys out like Truba, Lindgren, bring in guys like Susi and Dahan, and both of those guys scratched. They have Zach Jones playing, and I think Zach Jones has played really well. The past few games has been tough, and then Vakanainen had a really tough game last night. He's been paired with Adam Fox, and Adam Fox is also coming back from injury still. Braden Schneider scored a big goal in Minnesota last week, and he's he was okay last night, I thought, but Igor Shesterkin, what he had to put up with last night. And 3 days ago, I had people saying that Igor Shesterkin asking for 11.5 million after he let up 2 goals in the third period against the Oilers, like, ridiculous that he asked for that amount of money. And then you watch last night's game, and it's like, oh my God, this guy is underpaid. He's going to be underpaid for what he's putting up with. The team puts up 13 shots on goal last night. I think Calgary had 35, and all of their chances, came from basically right around the net front. There was 6 or 7 grade A chances alone in the slot area, I think, in the first period. So Igor was battle tested the entire night, and kept them in that game till the very end. So, man, there's so many different things that we can talk about. The way the roster looks, though, I think guys are still getting adjusted, but the blue line, even though it does look a lot different than it was a year ago, I don't know if it's all that better. And, I look at that pairing of Fox and Vakanainen, who didn't look good at all last night, and I'm asking myself, and this is what I asked Pierre Laviolette last night, why not try Adam Fox and Keandre Miller together? Because he's so quick to put them together in the third period when they're down by a goal in a desperate situation and they need to tie a game. So why not try that from the start? And there's just, I guess, certain pairings and balances throughout a game that he likes better. But I know earlier in the year when Fox and Miller were playing together, they were seeing some positive results. So I wonder if he's considering going back to that. But the chances last night, I think in total, Calgary had 28, pretty grade A chances, and the Rangers only had like 13. So it was just pure dominance from start to finish for Calgary for the most part.
You put Coach Laviolette on notice right there. Now a lot of people are going to be paying attention to see if he does make that switch. So that kind of goes into my next question. It's a 2-part question at that.
Yeah.
With everything that the Rangers, it's pretty much kind of out of their control right now. Mathematically, they're still in it, but they may need some help to make the playoffs. Do the Rangers make the playoffs? And if they don't, do they retain Peter Laviolette?
Wow. If they don't, I definitely think they will have a new head coach at the start of next season. If they do, which I still think they will, obviously as a Ranger fan myself, and I'm probably more on the positive outlook than I am the negative outlook, I always have hope that they will find a way. And honestly, I trust Igor Shesterkin more than anyone to find a way to help them get there. The one thing, though, is their schedule right now, or toward the end of the year, like their last, 3-4 games, like they're playing at Carolina, at Florida, and then home versus Tampa. Those are 3 very difficult games to play leading into the playoffs, especially when you're going to be hunting for points. But what I look at in the near term or short term is their 3-game road trip in California, and they're playing Los Angeles, Anaheim, San Jose. They should at least get 2 out of those 3 games in the win column. And I think they can beat LA too. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they get in. And that's also because I don't trust any other team in the East as well. Like Montreal has been great right now, but they can easily drop because of their goaltending. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun finish to the season. So we'll see what happens. But if I had a hypothetical gun to my head, I do say the Rangers get in.
So you're saying there's a chance?
So I'm saying there's a chance, and I don't even know if people want that or not. I have no idea what fans are hoping for at this point, because last night you have to look at that game and think it's kind of a backbreaker.
He's Harry. I'm Lori. Thank you guys for watching. AJ Last, thanks for hopping on, man.